Hi, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Laura Zorza, and I'm a retired Navy veteran. Now today I'm going to cover a topic that everyone serving in the Navy Reserves needs to know about, and that is your point capture. And I downloaded one of the copies that I have here. And what this is exactly what I said. It captures your points during your time in the reserves. So all your drill weekends, your 2-week ATs, any mobilizations, any funeral duty, any correspondence courses, any point that you earn that will count towards your retirement is located on this sheet. Now, I'm going to go over briefly what everything is, break it down. I'm not going to go too much into depth, but just to give you an overview of what this is and where you can find it. And then in another video, I can answer any other questions that you may have. But just jumping right into this right now, this is, like I said, your point capture. It is known by other names, but you'll find this on BUPERS, on BOLA, and I'll make sure I link that down below. But if you look at it, other than the obvious, your rating, your name, address, which I had blackened out here, says max inactive points, 90. Now, since 2007, it's actually been bumped up to 130. And if you watched any of my other videos, I'm sure you've heard me say it, and I'll be saying it many more times in the future. More points equals more money. So, like I said, 130 is actually what you can get on what they call more of like a soft reserve points, meaning it's not mobilization or any type of ADSW or indefinite type orders, but this is all your drill points, like I said, correspondence courses, and any type of funerals, things of that nature. Okay, 130 is what you can earn during your anniversary year, and it's something that you should be striving to obtain, 130 every single year. Below that is your anniversary year. Now, in the reserves, there are 3 types of years that you have to look at. You have your fiscal year, which is October 1st to September 30th. You also have your calendar year, January 1st to December 31st. But then there's something called your anniversary year. And everybody has a different anniversary year. That is the date you come in. So for instance, you go to boot camp, that day is your anniversary year. Now this can change. And if you mobilize, if your PSs are doing their job correctly at the NOSC, it will change. Now I say that if they're doing the job correctly because I've had a few mobilizations where they did not adjust my time. And I honestly think it's just because many of them are not aware of doing that. But when you go to active duty, you are not on reserve time. So as I stated, your time should adjust. And there is a way to do that. And if you're interested, I can make a video about that too. But you have your anniversary year, and that is a 12-month rolling calendar. So for instance here, mine was 11 December to 10 December. Here is my anniversary year of October 16th to October 15th. This exact point capture was back from 2013-14. And then right below that is your social security number, which I also blackened out for the obvious reasons. And then below that you have your NRA. Your NRA is your NOSC, which for some reason here, I have no idea why, but it's saying 0861. That's actually West Palm Beach, and I was not attached to them at this time, so that right there, like I said, this is another reason you want to look at this periodically because you will find errors. And then below that, your RUIC, that is your command. So for instance, 87369, that was Miami, the OSU unit, Operational Support Unit. Now below that, you'll see 2 different columns on the left and the right. On the left, you'll see inactive points, which are your drill points, along with your funeral points. And you also have any type of correspondence courses that you do on that side. And then on the right-hand side, you'll have your active points, which are your AT, your 2-week ATs, any ADT, things of that nature. Now, if you look down under, for instance, the inactive points, you'll see the numbers 3, which is drill, 4, correspondence courses, and 5 is your funeral honors, where I have my drills with the 3s. And if you look, for instance, like with May, I have quite a few days there. And the reason being is because I was on active duty at a portion of my anniversary year. And there are ways that you can make up those drills. So that's what I did here. I actually made up a bunch of drills. Then you go down to number 4. On these days, I completed these courses. At the time, they were in Navy e-learning. I know a lot of the different websites have now merged together. But you want to do any type of courses, such as the ones I have listed here, GMTs and things of the nature. They change every year as far as which courses receive points. Some do, some don't from year to year. But there's also something on here that I don't have listed on this specific point capture, but it's your Nav Ed Tray courses, your Navy educational training. And these are books that you can get points for. And once again, rules change from year to year, but you are still eligible. And the beauty of this is many of these books, majority of them, they're actually study guides for your rating, okay? At one time, they were actually mandatory to take your advancement exam, but for some reason, the Navy did away with that. And then below that, you'll see, for instance, 5. These are all the different funerals that I did throughout that year. And most individuals will only have 1 page for a point capture, occasionally 2. And throughout my career, I averaged anywhere from 8 to 12. And that was mainly because of all the funerals that I completed, along with many courses. Now, something to note, if you look on your point capture here with the funerals, for instance, in Miami, there were times where I did 8 funerals or more in one day. Regardless of how many funerals you do, you only get 1 point. So it would only show up on here as one day. In addition to that, you would only get 1 day of pay. On a side note, you'd want to keep track of those funerals that you completed, 8 this particular day, 3 the next day, whatever. So you would have that number to put on your evaluation. Under the period, it'll actually have your from and to dates. Now this is your reporting period of when your anniversary year began and ended. And next to that, you'll have the why. Now, if you'll notice on the second line down from 89 to 92, it's the big gap. It's not going year by year. And that's because that 1 is, it's active duty. Or if you look down on the bottom, it says regular component service. So that's when I was on active duty for my initial contract. So if you go all the way over to the right, you'll see active duty. It'll say 1,414 points. Or if you go on further to the right, it'll say 3 years, 10 months, and 14 days of service. So the question that I was asked by some active duty members is, if I leave active duty and go to the reserves, how does my time on active duty go into a point system? The thing is this, on active duty, you receive 1 point for every day you serve. So 365 points per year, with the exceptions of years like this year, 2020, where you have a leap year. Then you have 366. How many ever months, days, years that you serve, those points will just come in, just as mine did right here. They will go onto your point capture that way. But then you go down for like the reserve time, and you can see that the numbers are quite low in the beginning. One reason being is prior to 2007, we were only allotted 60 max points per year, and then eventually it went up to 75, then 90, and then as I stated, 2007, it's now up to 130. So you want to make sure that you max out on your points. But your points are added up. Drills and funeral honors, they're all in one category. Courses, they're in your other category. So for instance, down here, 2012-13, you'll see correspondence courses, 172. And the main reason is because I did a ton of those Nav Ed Tray courses. I believe that was the year I did all of the NEATS manuals, all the electricity manuals. Third column is your membership points. Now, these are the points you receive if you have a good year doing your drills and your AT. I always refer to them as your good girl, good boy points, but it's your membership points. It's a free 15 points that the Navy gives you. And then next to that, everything's all tallied up into your inactive subtotal. Inactive means reserves. And then the next column over is your active duty time. So any active duty time. Next to that's your AT, ADT, total points, and then service. Now, for instance, you'll see on mine, you got 1, 1, then I have a couple zeros, 1, 1, 1. Where if there's a 0, that means that year did not count. It could be, for instance, I was ARPR for a couple years. It could also mean that that's a bad year. Bad years mean you have to make that year up. But the thing is, if you hit your 20-year mark, and I stated this in a previous video, and you think, I have 20 years, I'm going to retire, and you look at this point capture, and you're not monitoring it prior to coming up on your retirement year, and you see you have 3 bad years, if you want to retire, that means you really only have 17 years. So in order to retire, you need 20. That means you need to do 3 years in the voluntary training unit, VTU, which means you drill for free, you're not paid. So that's why it is very important not only to know how many points as far as how much money you're going to make for retirement, but to know if you have a good amount of years qualifying to retire. So I cannot stress enough how important it is to keep track of your point capture. And then on the very bottom, you'll have your total career points and your qualifying years. Now, something else that I really want to point out is, like I said, you want to monitor this because there are mistakes. For instance, like I said, I was not attached at this time. I was attached to Miami, but they have me at West Palm. I have no idea why. But down here, for 4 years, it was either 3 or 4 years, my time and my points, they never changed. Now, the years were added on into the next page, and they would add on 1 year qualifying service, but they never changed it on the bottom. So, and to this day, it's still not changed. I have contacted Millington, have not heard back, and I'm just kind of gathering it's because I'm out of the system. So I will be following up. If anyone that I know happens to be up in Millington and you see this video, you know, I would like to take care of this before it gets too much further out from my retirement date. But my points, your points can often be off. For instance, I am missing a lot of points, and this was actually before En-ROSE, before the computer system, so I'm just SOL. You know, I did not know about the point capture and how to track this stuff when I was a junior sailor. Once again, learn from my mistake. Take care of your record now and make sure you monitor this. And then your qualifying service, for instance, here says 21 years, 10 months, 14 days. I actually retired with 24 qualifying years of service for pay purposes, and it never was fixed on my point capture, which is something I still have to work on with Millington. So that's what I have for you today. I will go over this in more depth and detail as far as how to max out points and things of that nature in future videos. But if you have any questions or comments, please let me know down below or send me an email. I will get back to you as soon as I can. And if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. And until the next video, take care, please be safe, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.